Welcome to Startup to Sold, a small business vlog providing insights into a day in the life. From entrepreneurship, how to start a business, to business motivation, this startup vlog shows it all. Thanks for watching. Before Thomas Edison became a household name, before the patents, before the history books, he was a broke entrepreneur with a stubborn idea and just enough money to keep failing one more day. This is the late 1870s. Edison is in his early 30s. He's already tried starting a business more than once. Some worked briefly, some failed overnight. He made money, then lost it. Sold inventions early just to stay alive. This is not an overnight success. This is the startup grind. At this point in his startup journey, Edison becomes obsessed with one idea: electric light. Not as a novelty, not for demonstrations, but something ordinary people could actually use in their homes and businesses. That belief is expensive. He takes everything he has and builds a small lab in Menlo Park. This is not some polished innovation center. It's cramped, chaotic, and underfunded. A handful of people working endless hours, sleeping there, eating there, reusing materials because buying new ones costs money they don't have. Every experiment costs time and cash. Every failed attempt tightens the anxiety. Edison and his team test hundreds of materials for a filament. Most of them fail. Some burn out instantly. Others last seconds. Weeks turn into months. The money keeps draining. This is the part of starting a business nobody romanticizes. The blind faith, the quiet panic, the moment where you're realizing you've gone too far to turn back. Edison isn't just about building a product anymore. He's betting his future on the idea that persistence will eventually win. And then it finally does. After countless failures, Edison's team finds a filament that lasts long enough to matter. The light bulb works. Not perfectly, but reliably. For the first time, electric light looks like it could replace gas lighting. That moment changes everything. But Edison doesn't stop there, because having an invention is not the same as building a startup. He knows the real challenge is scale. He builds generators, power stations, wiring systems, an entire infrastructure to make electricity usable in everyday life. He's not just inventing, he's starting a brand, building a startup, creating a business from scratch in an industry that didn't exist yet. Gas lighting companies fight back. They have money, influence, existing customers. Edison keeps pushing forward anyway, iterating, improving, reinvesting everything. Within a few years, his electric lighting systems are being installed in cities. Businesses adopt them. Homes follow. Edison's company grows. His persistence turns into one of the most important technological shifts in modern history. Years later, a young engineer named Henry Ford would look to Edison as proof that an entrepreneur could challenge entire industries through sheer belief and endurance. Ford saw firsthand what it meant to start small, stay broke, and keep building anyway. Edison's early struggles didn't just produce a light bulb. It launched motion pictures, power systems, recorded sound, over 1,000 patented inventions, all rooted in those years where money was tight and failure felt constant. This is not a story about being gifted. This is a story about committing fully, about starting a small business when the path is unclear, about continuing to fund an idea when the numbers don't feel safe, about choosing to keep going when quitting would be easier. This is how startups are built. This is how entrepreneurs are made. One idea, one risk, one long stretch of faith at a time. Tuesday, February 11th, 2025, 6:36 in the morning. Just heading out. Gonna go to Albertsons. Got to get some water. 5-gallon jugs are empty. Clean water. Can't drink tap water. Not healthy. Not a lot changed on the offsite front, but I am charging Nate. I presented a amortization of 9.75% and accounted for what the total owed is currently with what's collected. That was Friday. He's going to review and get back to me middle of this week about a restructure, but I'm fine carrying them. I'm not a freaking bank, so interest rates are a little high, but that's just the way it is. It's, when I borrow lower, go to a bank and get it. I'm not a bank. There's risk. Working still, more on that renewalert and everything. Probably psychologically, harder part is just, when I first started offsite with Michelle working and becoming the primary breadwinner and everything, that was a adjustment where I was just trying to make a company that was just covering its expenses, paying down our expenses that were hard to see. If it's a cell phone bill and write-offs, fuel, and a lot of meals and stuff like that. And then as it grew, eventually shifted. And then when she came over and worked, it was like, hey, look, we have a company we're living off of, paying the rent, covering us pretty well. We were making a living on it. And then she left, and then I had offsite, so I was making money, she was making money, so it was pretty equal. And then sold, collected some, and then there's money that's still coming in too. But it's just that adjustment going to renewalert where, I'm still trying to figure out I don't have a lot of money covering the expenses of the business, so I have a burn rate instead, but then I'm not contributing to home. And it just takes me back a little bit. I feel like I'm not doing my part, and I want to get back to being able to contributing, bringing in the money too. It's like I go to the grocery store, or we go out or whatever, and I feel less than a little bit. I got to remember I did contribute, it was just in bigger chunks at once. But again, I guess I just psychologically don't see that as money that we have. That's our retirement, not something where it's like, okay, that's day-to-day spending. I don't really see that money there as real. Even if it all came in, I still would have the same feeling, and it just drives me to get out and get this business now up and going better. And the priority first was to, what can be the most important thing they could do was writing the offsite ship so we can collect the money that we're owed on that, the balance. And then, okay, now I can get that ship righted. Now let's focus that shift over to renewalert, getting that in and get us from family perspective, cash flow positive, and start contributing more and more to our day-to-day plus our retirement. One downside of having my Regis office next to a mall is the parking lot. Navigating it is a daily adventure, and this is a perfect example of how bad the drivers around here could be. Someone did not just clip a curb, they ripped the entire thing out and dragged it into the middle of the lane. That takes commitment. And last week, someone drove straight through the gate, not bumped it, drove through it. So many mornings, even before I get to work, I'm already impressed. As more time passes since selling offsite and shifting my focus to renewalert, I've noticed something I did not fully appreciate before. Detaching from a company you built takes time. And you also realize how used to stress you become when you live in it every day. It's only after you step away that you can see how stressful that environment really was. Another thing I realized, even while I was still running offsite, was how much of the company's success eventually moved out of my hands. When the business was smaller, I controlled almost everything. How trucks were loaded, how routes were scheduled, how pre-calls were done, the quality of the work. The outcome was directly tied to my actions. As the company grew, that changed. I could not do everything anymore, and more of the success of the business depended on employees. That shift was uncomfortable for me, and I did not like it. I think a lot of entrepreneurs experience this as they scale. At some point, you start looking back and asking whether the continued growth was actually a benefit. Was there a size where the business hit a sweet spot, where control was still there, the outcomes were predictable, and profitability was strong? Growth for the sake of growth is not always the answer. Revenue alone is not the goal. Profit, control, and quality of life matter more than most people admit. Thursday, February 13th, 2025, 6:42. Starting to get light earlier again, so that's a good sign. Cold though. It's not 65. That's the temperature. It's like 44 here. Phoenix, that's cold. I mean, to wear my winter clothes. So I just was thinking as I was walking down the hall to the elevator, and I noticed this a lot. Appreciation, for health, happiness, my family, my wife, life, all kinds of stuff. But one of the things that I comes across a couple times, especially in the mornings, not having that stress of offsite. No matter what. Just not having it. So I was watching TV, I thought I heard a phone text noise as I was, in the bathroom, jumping in the shower or something. I was just used to how I would get those texts at 7 in the morning or 6 in the morning. And the first thing in my head, I would just go through, I was like, oh fuck, how much is this going to cost? And there are always dollar figures associated with them. Expensive ones often. It's like the truck's not working, this is broken, someone's not showing up, but all of the above. Don't miss that. And just, it's the, thinking about my overhead and everything and just not having that. Basically, I had a $200,000 a month that I had to cover, and just used to that. I mean, American Express I got up to $70,000 a month. I just got so used to it. In the custom, you just feel that in the pressure to cover it and make the money to cover the expenses and try to generate a profit. And then you just get there and then stupid shit happens. Oh, I broke this. Oh, the truck. Oh, we smashed the box up. So it was just a lot of stuff in other people's hands and just massive exposure and risk and massive dollars out the door. It was constant, and it just felt, it's relief in a lot of ways to be away from that now. And now it's just, I like the little simple office. I know there's times at offset I look back and think, boy, it was easier when it was just 2 trucks and one office here and running down to California and back, 3 or 4 employees. Are you making more money even though you get bigger? And sometimes you find it's not worth it. Just over to the renewalert side, I keep building stuff out on that. Ended up with Sapper got me a call with a restaurant company. So they have 16 restaurants. I had the call yesterday, and she had been talked for 15 minutes. And she wanted to have an accountant on the call, and the accountant doesn't work for their company. He's an accountant for the sister company, and so they have, I looked it up, they have 116 restaurants, so they have 100 more. So that's actually really good that he'll be on the call next week. I got to send the schedule over for that. I've worked a lot on classifications on renewalert, specifically customizing more by industry and then doing videos. So I'm pushing a ton of content out and I'm creating the categories just really specialized. So I know some viewer is going to see one and a category is going to resonate. What I'm doing is then made the website. I've got a drop down with each individual industry, and then I'm showcasing the specialized nature of the software by industry. So you sign up, you select your industry, and then the reminder categories are specialized by industry. So there's actually like CEC certification, that's Certified Executive Chef. It's good for 5 years and it's got to be renewed. It's got all kinds of requirements. We actually have created that, our CEC cert is something to be tracked under restaurant certifications. So if you are in the restaurant industry, you'll have that. You'll have Certified Sous Chef certification. There's permit, there's a liquor license. So there's all these certain things that are specific to them that would do nothing but clutter other industries. So now it's just in their industry. So I can now name the stuff down to it. Focusing just on core industries to get the traction, I am increasing the AI presence again too, building on the knowledge base with more specific data. So I'm researching the stuff myself, creating the knowledge base, and then whenever it gets prompted, it pulls up incredibly relevant information. So that's going to show really well. So I had that primarily. I was going towards multifamily and hospitality, and then just with this restaurant thing coming up, I had the restaurant there, but I'm going to pushing forward more on that one, which I did yesterday. I started the renewalert demo account, which I think that's going to be really powerful too. More stuff coming out with the AI content. I'm trying to get the developers to incorporate the AI content into the software. At this point, they say, oh, they're good at taking money, but not delivering results. The shelf life there is limited with these guys. It's been like that for years. I've worked with them for years. They've always been slow. I've always been kind of a lower priority because of my volume, but as that's going to pick up, because the more I focus on this stuff, the better and better and better these things are getting. Just thinking too, it's like the way my brain works, I am always thinking of better ways to do it and improve it. So I was thinking to myself, if I was a customer of a software I did, I'd be happy because it's always be improving, but I just hadn't been putting my head into it. I've been too busy getting distracted by stupid shit at offsite, and it really stunted my growth. Another thing I was thinking about last night too was CRMs. I got to start building my CRMs now so I can supplement this in addition to Sapper, building out databases. As I increase my LinkedIn reach, I should be able to pull these emails out of there and estimate other people's emails from the same organizations and create my own mailing list. Some of them I'm like, why am I spending all this money? HubSpot was expensive and some of these others, and then they all link together and they're really difficult to use, or not. I mean, they're somewhat easy, but their functionality is only limited by how deep you want to learn and spend on their thing. No one really makes simple software except me. I actually was considering going back to Monday, and because I was discouraged by Monday having a 3 license requirement, which I think was going to put me somewhere around $50 or more a month. But as I look back at okay, so I got HubSpot, okay, pay $50 a month there for that, and I can only use functionality for one thing. But with Monday, I can build my CRM. I know how to do it, but then I could build a bunch of other things on it too to help start supporting the business. And then it got me thinking too that I actually got a market out there too that I can integrate or utilize renewalert with Monday for the organizations that use it, and then actually potentially become a Monday consultant in addition to this part to help companies better implement Monday and utilize it. So that's another option as well. That's a pretty cool one. I got to go in and get an anniversary card, and then a coffee, and then tomorrow's our anniversary, and then dry cleaning, kick off the day. Excited though, grateful.
This business vlog documents my journey on how to start a business, how to start a software company, and start up businesses from zero. If you're searching for startup tips, business ideas for how to start a business, start a software business, and how to run a business effectively, as well as different startup business ideas, subscribe for new videos every week.